It is make or break time in New Hampshire ahead of tomorrow's primary in Your Vote 2012. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Mickle. Welcome to INN News. The Republican presidential candidates are making their final pitches to voters just a day ahead of the first in the nation primary and the second contest in the presidential race. Mitt Romney looks like the man to beat. He's seen here at an event in Nashua today. Polls show him far ahead of the competition. That made him a target in the second of two debates over the weekend.
Mitt, I realize the red light doesn't mean anything to you because you're the front runner. But can we drop a little bit of the pious baloney?
Romney had a narrow victory against Rick Santorum in the Iowa caucuses. His rivals are now looking to bring him down to New Hampshire to boost their own chances. That's especially important for Jon Huntsman, who has spent almost all of his time campaigning in New Hampshire, hoping that state will push him forward.
I put my country first. Governor Romney puts politics first.
Two other candidates are already making a big push in the state that holds the third contest, South Carolina. Santorum and Texas Governor Rick Perry are both hoping to do well with South Carolina's more conservative base.
All the other candidates will say they need your help. They're lying. I need your help.
Congressman Ron Paul says he will head to South Carolina within 12 hours of learning the results in New Hampshire. That would give the third-place Iowa finisher more than a week to campaign for the January 21st contest. Well, the new year has started, and it's time to start thinking about tax season. But this year, when you file, you may find fewer breaks available to you. That's because lawmakers have allowed more than 50 business and individual tax breaks to expire while they were on vacation. This includes mortgage insurance deduction, higher education tuition deduction, and school teacher tax deduction. Lawmakers could still choose to extend them retroactively when they return from their winter break. Well, could lower mortgage rates mean a higher chance for rejection for potential homeowners? With that and more, here's Phil Doherty in tonight's Back to Business.
The average rate in a 30-year fixed mortgage fell to 3.91% last month, a sign that 2012 will be another year of opportunity for those who can afford to buy or refinance a home. But qualifying for those loans is the difficult part. Buyers face a number of hurdles, including a down payment and the ability to document at least 2 years of income. That can be challenging for people who suffered temporary unemployment, are self-employed, or have irregular wages. Despite a 3.5% increase in revenue, retailers did not make much profit this holiday shopping season. Many retailers sacrificed their bottom lines, offering huge discounts to bring in shoppers who were the big winners after grabbing those last-minute deals. For November and December, total revenue rose 3.3%, a good increase, but smaller than last year's 3.8% rise. The world will spend more than $1 trillion on personal electronics this year. That's according to the Consumer Electronics Association. It says smartphones and tablet computers are the biggest drivers, especially in emerging markets like India, China, and Brazil. That $1 trillion in global sales is up from $993 billion last year. For Back to Business, I'm Phil Doherty.
Well, some over-the-counter drugs in your medicine cabinet may now be under recall. Pharmaceutical giant Novartis is voluntarily recalling certain Excedrin and no-dose medicines with December 2014 expiration dates, and Gas-X prevention and Bufferin medicines with December 2013 expiration dates. The move follows customer complaints about mislabeled and broken pills. The pills have not made anyone sick. This is just precautionary. Well, despite all the extra security in place at the nation's airports, more people are trying to sneak guns onto planes. The TSA says since 2007, the number of guns it finds at checkpoints has been on the rise. In fact, TSA officials find an average of 4 guns a day. Passengers are allowed to travel with a gun, but only in their checked luggage. Even then, they need to declare them and place them unloaded in hard containers. A former U.S. Marine gets a death sentence overseas, and a meeting of the minds between two presidents. It's all in our global news now. An American-Iranian man has been sentenced to death in Iran for alleged espionage activity. The country's revolutionary court found Amir Mirza Hekmati guilty of spying for the CIA. He He was arrested in August while visiting relatives. He served in the Marines from 2001 to 2005. He maintains his innocence. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez held talks with his Iranian counterpart today. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad arrived in Caracas yesterday, his first stop on a Latin American tour that also includes Cuba, Ecuador, and Nicaragua. The president is hoping to shore up support for his controversial nuclear program. More than 4,000 anti-government protesters staged a rally in Yemen's capital to appeal to the newly established National Council to oust embattled President Ali Abdullah Saleh. People of Yemen are continuing to be plagued by resource shortages, including water, electricity, and natural gas, after a month when the new National Council was established. Demonstrators say they hoped for better living conditions. Train commuters in major cities around the world got a little cheeky yesterday as part of the annual No Pants subway ride. Here you see the pantless travelers in Poland. The pranksters converged at train stations wearing everything but their pants. New York-based Improv Everywhere started the No Pants subway ride in New York a decade ago. People in London, Mexico City, and Tel Aviv also took part this year. And that's your Global News Now. Well, an amazing story of survival in Zimbabwe. The cord snapped when an Australian woman went bungee jumping over the Zambezi River, about 360 feet down. This happened on New Year's Eve. 22-year-old Erin Langworthy plummeted into the water, but she was more or less okay. She then had to swim to the bank and pull herself out of the water.
Went black straight away, and I felt like I'd been slapped all over. It's definitely a miracle that I survived.
She spent some time in the hospital. Doctors say she had a broken collarbone and a lot of bruises, but say she will be just fine. In an online statement, the jump operator claimed its operations were safe. Families counting their blessings after a fire in Deering, Georgia destroyed most of their home. But one pretty special item was left unscathed, and firefighters are calling it a miracle. Bernice Hunt's Bible was pulled from the ashes by firefighter Christopher Hinton without a charred edge or a burnt page. The only damage was a little moisture from the fire hoses.
Everything on beside the Bible and on the Bible was burnt. So I moved it, and the Bible's wet and cold.
It's just the Lord. Got to be.
Life hasn't been easy for Mrs. Hunt. She lost her husband. She was diagnosed with cancer, survived open heart surgery, and now this. But she says she's always and will always keep the faith. We'll talk about a Hail Mary. Tim Tebow may have some new believers after what he pulled off during yesterday's playoff game against the Steelers. On the first play in overtime, Tim Tebow hits Demaryius Thomas over the middle. As you can see, Thomas raced 80 yards for the game-winning touchdown. The play took 11 seconds and was the quickest ending to an overtime in NFL history.
You know, I'm just very thankful for the platform that God has given me and the opportunity to be a quarterback for, you know, the Denver Broncos. What a great organization. And, you know, it is special to have the platform of playing football, you know, because I have an opportunity to affect people.
The win had fans Tebowing all over Denver last night. The Broncos take on the New England Patriots next week. Later, a story that may do away with the whole dumb jock myth. How working out can make you smarter. Plus, it's the middle of January, so where's winter? Many of you still have yet to see snow. How this could be leaving some businesses out in the cold. And for those on a tight budget, a house that could be a tight squeeze. How two people managed to live here. Coming up. And we want to remind you, INN News is on Facebook, and now you can also find us on Twitter at INN News Network. And we're on YouTube. We're reaching out to you so you can reach out to us. INN News will be right back.